Good afternoon, good morning, wherever time you are listening to this. This is Darralynn Hutson. I am the founder of the Stylists Suite, and we are engaged in really great conversations about journalism, publicity, and ownership. This is something new, entrepreneurs, because all of us are business owners. You are now here with the Stylist Suite Live. I'm so excited about my conversation. This is the very first time I'm getting to meet this young lady. Her name is Jess Poulin. Am I saying it right, Jess Poulin?
Yes,
I'm meeting her
yes.
for the first time, audience. Jess Poulin is the founder of Woke Media, and she came along in hip hop and entertainment, doing publicity for music. So of course, I was immediately drawn into her because that too is my background. But she started a business during the pandemic. I'm sure addressing a lot of the needs of her previous clients in the music industry. She started doing PR kind of the same way I did, which is really addressing the needs of her clients, some of which are some of the biggest artists, hip hop artists that we know of our time. So I'm really excited to talk about her. She started Woke Media and she's really expanded what it looks like to be in publicity. That's why I'm excited to talk to Jess today. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Darralyn. That was such a great introduction.
Did
Thank
I
you.
do it
You
right?
seem so cool.
I started following you on social media because of your events. Um, Give me the if you were to break it down in your own words, what it is that your company Woke Media does for its clients.
Yeah. So, what I like to tell everyone is, we're a public relations and branding agency. And so, basically, what we do is provide like 360-degree branding and PR for people, brands, products, whatever it is. And that can be anything from press, like features in the media, that could be speaking engagements, awards, events, whatever it is that they need. We help them do it and also help ensure that the brand is being represented across like all of the platforms, all of the places in the best light.
I'm going to assume that some of your clients came from just relationships, right? Tell me about how you started in this industry and how you, Jess, was able to form kind of solid relationships in this industry. How did it start for you?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. We only have so long.
It's important. Yeah, it's
It
important. Yeah.
is. Yeah, it is super important. I mean, I started out, I originally am from Vermont. I'm from the northern part of Vermont. If anybody knows Newport, shout out Newport.
Vermont. Wow.
Yes. Right up there on the Canadian border. And when I turned 18, I was like, I'm off to New York City. Goodbye. Farewell.
What was
Um,
it? Well, go back, go back. What was it that what drew you to New York?
I mean, obviously it was the movies at the time. I was obviously super big into like the Mary-Kate and Ashley movies. So like New York Minute was super big for me. I fell in love with Rent very young, and I just like the idea of like New York being this sort of like fashion, but like grungy music. It was just like I just fell in love. And then when I went there in high school on like a school trip, I it was over. My mom knew that. She was like, "Okay, yeah, like Jesse's going to be going to college in New York." And yeah, that's what I did. I went to Manhattan College in the Bronx. And I studied communications and PR, but I like fell into it. I went in undecided. First, I was going to be a nurse, and then I was going to be a fashion designer, and then I was, going to be in social studies and join the Peace Corps. And so there was like so many 18-year-old thoughts that I was having about like what I wanted to do with my life.
Mm,
So I
mm.
went in undecided, and someone was like, "I think you'd be a good publicist." And I was like, "Oh, what is that?" Like, and I started like looking at the classes and stuff, and I was like, yeah, I like to talk. Like this sounds like a great like thing for me. And yeah, I like fell into it from there. And as far as like the music side of it, I decided that I wanted to be a publicist and work for this indie label called Fueled by Ramen. They are in South Florida and they have a bunch of like just punk indie rock bands of my childhood youth.
I was going to say, how did you find them? How did they find you? When
Yeah,
because you're matriculating in New York at this time.
yeah. Well, so Paramore, which was one of my favorite childhood bands, they were signed by Fueled by Ramen, and I really was like, I want to be a publicist for them. Like, this is what I want to do. And so I started interning actually at Capitol Records, which at the time, I like tell people this, and it's so weird to think about, but I interned at Capitol when it took over like 25 floors on Fifth Avenue. And then
Wow.
while I was there, it went from 25 to 5 floors. So I was in one of the biggest record labels that, people are really in the know about at a time where they were like significantly downsizing.
Downsizing.
And yeah, and the shift of what it meant to have a record label for music artists and have like PR from record labels was just at like a very like what's going on kind of stage.
So I'm interested to know, again, I know I got to keep this under 30 minutes, but you brought up something very important because I came up in the time when PR meant sending press releases in the mail,
Yes.
sending fax machines, things like that. Did you learn that as, going through a database? Did you learn that way of PR
Yes.
or?
Yeah, so when I was interning at Capitol, which would have been 2010, 2011, maybe. Yeah, it was back when we were responsible for interns to do like mailers. So we hand
Mailers,
folded,
yeah.
printed out press releases, put in like someone came in and was like, okay, you fold the press release, you slide the disc in there, you stick it inside, you put two stickers in there, and then you make sure that it goes out to all of these people, which were at
Mhm, mhm.
magazines and fashion houses and stylists and all of these things, managers, etc. So we helped with the mailers, and I did that for such a long time. And it was around the time Katy Perry had California Girls, and that was like the big hit coming from Capitol at the time. Emily Sande had just kind of started breaking through the scene with the Next to Me song. Do you remember that?
I do,
Yeah.
I do. I did, my internship was with, MTV.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was a production assistant from MTV, and we were doing, when the movies would come out, we would do kind of um, the special TV shows about the release of a film, or you know what I
Oh,
mean?
okay,
So,
cool. I
so
love that.
yeah, I know. I believe me, I understand.
You're like, I was in there. Yeah.
Well, it was just an old, it was, I look at it as being an ancient way of how things used to be done, but it's important to know because,
Hmm.
yeah, you got a chance. I feel like now that your business does PR, um, graphic design, web design, it kind of, those experiences when you were first introduced to PR
Yeah.
through music allowed you to do so much more. What skills do you feel like you learned during that
Yeah.
time?
I didn't even think about it like that until you said it, but yeah, I do think a lot of like where I first learned about branding was for an artist, like branding in terms of like their album cover, the inside fold. I don't know if people know about the booklet, but the booklet with the lyrics, like all of that stuff I saw and I was a part of, from the internship side moving up. And again, during like the shift, where it's like one day you show up to your internship and you're working on the 15th floor, but then the next day it's the 12th floor and you're like,
Mm,
where am I going? So I kind of like moved through, like I started in the PR department and then I moved to like radio and like artist relations. And then they kind of just kept moving us wherever they needed people at the time because they'd already kind of committed. So I had the chance to really like see all the different facets of like how you build an artist and what happens behind the scenes, which was
mm.
like a dream come true for me.
So you came out of that experience, saying, "Okay, I want to do more of this in an ownership way." Did Were there ever any times where there was, at least for me, when I was in music, I was like, "Oh, I can't do this anymore. This is crazy." So did you ever have, well, let me ask this differently. As a young woman kind of matriculating through music, what kind of skills or people or relationships or things that you learned that kind of impact what it is that you do now, especially when it comes to working with women?
Yeah, I mean, whew, again, we only got 30 minutes. Um, no, but these are all really great questions. And, the more that I've started doing like PR and press for like myself and the company and not just our clients, the more like I think I'm so focused on like building the business that I don't always like think about like what I've actually done to the point that I'm at. And so all of these like interviews are really making me be like, yes, what did I learn from this experience? Because I think a lot of times when I look back on like my journey over the years being a Black woman in music and entertainment,
Mm-hmm.
it was incredibly frustrating for me. And there were so many struggles that I felt like I was constantly doing. And like that is one of the main reasons I started my own company, is because I was basically like fed
Me
up
too, Jess. Mm-hmm.
with all of
Me
these
too.
hurdles and like being the only person and feeling like I had to really fight to like be heard in these spaces, especially with men. And that is kind of why when I started my own company, I was like, F the men, I'm not working with men, like I'm only working with women. And it has been such a peaceful, like, yes, there are a million and one things that are very stressful about entrepreneurship. But as far as like my clients and like feeling respected and seen and understood by them and still being able to deliver good work, like it's just like life saving, to be honest. Like
I so appreciate that. I needed to hear that today. Thank you. Talk about your first clients. Let's jump forward. When did you say, I want to start a business? Because a lot of us come out of music and really
Mhm.
run in the opposite direction. You ran toward entrepreneurship. When did you say, okay, I want to start a business in this?
Yeah, I mean, I always say that like when I was little, like when I would play, I would be like, I wouldn't play house. I'd be like, I play business. Like I don't know what my business does, but like I had my clipboard and those like thick leather bound like folders and stuff. And so I always wanted to have a business. And then I think as I went through some really frustrating, experiences with both male and female employers, I kind of like knew around like 2016 was when I was like really fed up and I was like, I think I could do this on my own, but I need a few more skills.
Mm,
And so I continued to sort of like work for companies and like learn as I go. Like I'm very much like osmosis, like I'm learning from every single person that's around me all the time, not
mm.
just what to do, but what not to do. So
Right, right.
I was learning a lot of like what not to do, I must say. And so it finally just got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm done. Like, I deserve better. I don't deserve this, like, kind of like emotional abuse, from employers and just kind of like racial things that, it that happens to all of us, unfortunately. And it kind of just drove me to the point where I was like, F this, like, I don't deserve to be treated like this. And I could honestly do this myself and get paid on time and, actually like make some money.
So did a lot of this revolutionary saying, okay, I'm done. Did this happen during the pandemic? Did the pandemic have anything to do with it?
So it, yes and no. So originally I was working at a company until 2018, which is like when I started my company. So February 2018 is when I started it. And, I had already started like working some clients on the side. And, you know, once my boss just kind of tipped the scales for me, I was like, goodbye. And I started working almost immediately. And you were saying before, like talking about like where you get the clients from. To be honest, I would say like 98% are referrals. They are people that I met over the industry because as soon as I started out on my own, like it didn't matter what was going on. I always saved people's numbers. Like I went on so many press trips with clients, like all over the city, like Waka Flocka, Salento, like so many different places, so many different people, Keith Urban, all these things. And I always saved numbers. And so when I left and went out on my own, I was like, should I do this? Maybe not. I'm just going to do it. Like, it doesn't hurt. And I just texted people and I was like, hey, remember me from this thing? Like, I'm starting my own PR company. Please let me know if you need any like PR services or you know of anyone. Like, this is what I'm specializing in. And everything just kind of organically built from there.
I
But
love that.
yeah.
Do you still do that, or are you beyond that at this point? Do you still
Do
text people and say, "Hey, I think
Oh,
you need some
sometimes.
PR. Do you need some PR? I think you can use my services."
Sometimes I look at texting kind of the way like that I want to handle texting. Like for me, I want my phone to feel very much like mine. I don't want it to be flooded with like work things all the time. I don't want to constantly have like texts that are about work. And so I usually like draw that boundary pretty well that if like the best way to get in touch with me about something to do work related is like to please email me because my iMessage, my Instagram, like those are my things and I don't want work to like leak into there. I just want something for myself.
I mean, that actually leads me into a great bit of advice. Now that you've been in business, almost 10 years, is what bit of advice would you give going into the 10th year that you didn't when you first started? What bit of advice would you give to entrepreneurs?
Ah, that's a great question. You're just
You keep
coming at
leading me. It's you, Jess. You keep leading me in these places. I'm not asking any of the questions on my list. So go ahead.
I mean, I do think like the relationship part of business is one of the things that has like kept us alive. Like they're just like any business, we've had like really great highs, really bad lows, small businesses, especially Black owned small businesses, especially, I'm sure can relate. But the important thing is just like continuing to build those relationships.
Mhm, mhm.
I feel like a great example of that is I call her my mentor. She's now actually a client.
That's
And
amazing. Yeah, that you've been
yeah,
able to pivot. Yeah, that's a pivot. Yeah.
yes, yes. And while we haven't like stayed in touch every day, every week, every month, or sometimes even every year, we still have had and like built that relationship that is like secure and has that foundation. So naturally, there was nobody else that she would want to do her PR than me. And that was like such an exciting moment for me because again, like for me, she's my mentor. She's someone that I met very early on in my career and just like completely like, well, obviously not coincidentally now, it was like meant to be, but we just
Yeah.
kept meeting each other in different moments of each of our careers where it was like, okay, wait, who are you? Because we keep running into each other and like, what's going on? And so she was like one of the first people I messaged when I started my own company. And she helped funnel a lot of business towards me over the last 8 years as well.
Nice. Nice.
And, again, she's doing that with herself, but it's like we've helped each other out in so many different business aspects, but also on like a friendship level as well. So it's been really
So
nice.
that leads me to another question. 8 years in, how do you, in regards to action, how do you keep those relationships strong? I tell kids it's sometimes as simple as sending an email or asking. I ask a lot of questions all the time, but how do you keep those relationships from people that were first helping you to you
Mhm.
saying, "Hey, I can help you too," right? How do you
Yeah.
keep those? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do it from like a business standpoint, but then I also do it from a personal like standpoint. I really think like even interpersonal relationships are like meant to be, it's an art form. I would
Yes.
say it is very difficult sometimes with everything we have going on in our lives, but there's a way to do it. So from like the business side, I make sure that, we're following them on their socials and supporting them from that side of things. If I have their business emails, which is most likely, we're adding them to our newsletter list so that they're
Mhm.
getting our newsletter and they're constantly seeing like how we're growing and evolving and the things that we're getting for our clients so that if they are ever like I think it is time for me to like go back to PR or start PR, they were already sort of like subliminally in their
Right,
head,
right.
and then on the personal side, also depending on like what the relationship is, I want to make sure that depending on everybody's comfortability, like the personal relationship online is also respected between like client and myself. Like I always tell my clients that like I I don't always let clients follow me online because I
Mhm.
want it to be something that's separate from them. I don't want them to, I think it's more of like maybe I'm just sitting outside, having a glass of cava at my lunch break, and
Right,
I
right.
take a video and then my client's looking and they're like, "Why are you drinking cava in the middle of the day?" you know? So it's more so just to be able to sort of like have that privacy away from them.
Disconnect. Yeah, disconnect. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta disconnect. But Christina and I, normally we'll do like check-ins every now and then via email if it is like a deeper relationship, or we know for a fact some people are like, do not email me. And I'm like, darn it, that's my best for. But I'll text them and send them just like a little hello message and like, hey,
Yes, yes.
let's get a virtual coffee, or, let's just text for a few minutes about what's going on, etc. Just so that everyone gets that everyone's busy. So it's just like that little, even just
Check in.
text
Just
message.
little, right.
Yeah,
Just
like
little check
thinking
in.
about you,
Uh-huh.
and
Absolutely.
I never wanted to feel like I'm coming to them because I'm like, you coming back to pay me? I wanted to feel like it's a genuine, like, hey, like genuinely just wanted to see how you were doing, never any pressure to be like, let's talk business, more so just like to know that they know that I'm thinking of them without any
Absolutely.
stipulations.
Absolutely. I have emailed, I have pitched, his name is, oh my God, what is his name? Sylvester, I can't remember, at Vogue. Oh, Sergio. For years, years and years, he's over entertainment. Do you know who I'm talking about? He's
I
never
think I
given me an
do.
assignment. Yeah, never given an assignment. But he always responds. And I really appreciate that in an editor from Vogue. So once I found out, and I don't know how I found out where his address is, every year I'll send him something. And it might be something, cookies or nuts or something like that. But I just appreciate him. And one time he put one of my clients in there, and I know it was Cash Doll. I know it was from those 4 or 5 years that I've done that special
Yeah.
thing, that consistent thing. And it's not like
Yes.
he's ever given me an assignment or anything, but
Yeah.
people don't understand. It's the 11th time. If you don't do it, it's the 11th time that they're going to respond, right?
Yeah. That's the thing too, is like client or like media relations is very different now versus like when I first started, and even when like you first started.
Mm.
Because yeah, it was way more like, oh, let me take you to lunch, like let's have a work drink and I'll
Hmm.
pitch you over drinks after work kind of deal. And you really
Or
built
you say, well, what are you looking
relationships.
for? Yeah, what are you looking for these days? Yeah, that was my
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Or even just like, I hated this part of my job when I first started out, but like calling. Like I was made to call like every writer every single time. Like when I first started out, my boss told me that I had to like send out this press release, and then like within the hour, I had to go through and call everyone and be like, "Hi, did you see the press release that we sent
That's
you?"
that
Like
database. Yeah, I hated that database.
it was the
And
worst.
now I
But
use it. Yeah, now I use
yeah, but now it's nice. And I'm like trying to teach my team that too, where it's like, sometimes, yes, we're very busy, and sometimes it's like, okay, like I'm trying to get all of these pitches out and, do this and X, Y, and Z. But someone has responded and they're just like, oh, someone responded. I'm going to log that over here and then, move on to the next thing. And I'm always like, they're way better at it now, but especially like interns, I'm like, you have to respond to these people. Like, you can't just not respond, because at the end of the day, like, a lot of journalists, like, I think I just saw a stat the other day from like PR Net or something that was like 90% of journalists are not responding. So that's why
No,
it's
that's
so
why you got to
important.
praise the ones that do. You got to praise them. You got to
Exactly.
elate. Oh my God, yes. Oh my, and they come out of the blue. I know Geraldine knows this too because we pitch so much. They come out of the blue because you know you send so many over and over. You're like, oh my God, they
Yes, you're like,
responded.
oh
Oh
my
my
God,
God.
yes. Yes. And that's what's like hard to explain to clients as well, which is like what I'm realizing that like I almost need to go through a sort of like PR training with them so that they can really fully understand where the industry is at now
The
and like set
process,
those
yeah.
expectations because so many of them are like, well, how come like we haven't gotten a response from Forbes, you know? And I'm just like, they haven't responded and they're like, well, what did they say? And I'm like, they didn't respond, like you know, like, and it's like I wish they could, you know, I wish they gave me anything. I even love the writers that just respond back no. Like I'm
Yes.
like,
Well, yeah, yeah. I
thank you.
know. I've been on both sides. Apps. I mean, what is it that you mentioned? I mentioned what brings me joy. What is it now that brings you joy in the process as the owner? What is it that you're like, oh my God, this is amazing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's honestly just like the clients that we have. We have a lot that have been with us for like a minimum of 5 years now.
Mm,
And so we've built like really strong relationships with them. We've helped them reach such big career milestones. And, you know, it's all because of like the work that we're doing. And, you know, as an entrepreneur, like the idea of like being the worst terrible person at your job ever, you know, like imposter syndrome, like it's always there. And so these moments, you're like, oh my God, I do know what I'm doing. Like, this is great. But I would have to say that for sure is just like helping them reach those next milestones.
and how do you, I mean, you've been in business 8 years. How have you been able to build a team? When did you get to the point where you said, okay, I need to hire someone else? Or were they friends with you from all along? How?
Yeah, so when I started in 2018, I obviously didn't really have money. So, but
Right, right.
I was
You were
like, I need
making the money.
some. Yes, I was just starting. I was like paying my bills and then like that was it. And so when I started, I got interns and it allowed them to get
Hmm.
school credit. So, you know, it was an unpaid for school credit only internship and I started getting interns and having like 3 a year based on like summer, spring, fall. And I
That's a
did
great
that for
idea.
like the first 2 years, I think, 2 or 3 years, I want to say. And then it was kind of like, okay, it's really hard to retrain someone every like 3 or 4 months because, you know, they're going off and going to other internships.
Right.
So I think it was around maybe like 2020, 2019, 2020 that I actually like hired somebody. And I mean, not for a lot because I didn't have money and I was barely paying myself, but I hired someone and I would say like 2021, 2022 was probably when I had the biggest team, which there was 6 or 7 of us at the
Oh,
time.
wow. Wow.
Yeah. Right now there's 4 of us, including myself. So it kind of fluctuates, but two of the girls that have been here, one of them actually interned with me when I first started the company. And then when she graduated college, she came back and then, you know, left again and then came, she was figuring herself out. And then she
Yeah.
finally came back in 2022. So she's been here consistently since 2022. And then one of my other girls also started in 2022 and has been here since then as well. Our other girl was an intern in 2023 with us. And then when we were looking last year, I knew she had just kind of graduated. So I was like, hey, what are you doing?
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, you have an office space. They come into a space where you guys all get to work together, or is it remote? How does it work?
So when I was in Brooklyn, I got a great deal on an apartment post COVID, and I was able to like have what I think was like my dream apartment. And I had this big wooden table, and the team would come over like twice a week, and we would all work from my apartment. And have like meetings and chat and talk and get everyone breakfast, all of those kinds of things.
Hmm.
And then 2 of the other days they would work remote. Now that I'm in Barcelona and they're like in New York and kind of all over, it's all remote, but they are now coming here once a year for a week. They were here a couple weeks ago, but they come here now once a week every year to work together, and we see each other and do some excursions and
You
drink
mean once a
wine.
year? You say they come once a week, but you say
Oh, sorry. Yes, once a year. They wish.
I want to work with you. So
I
see,
wish I could do that.
that leads into the very last question. I mean, I have so many more questions to ask, but we're going to keep this short. What are you working on now? What are some of the projects that you're really immersed in? And then
Mhm.
how do people reach you, and how can someone work with you?
Yeah.
Those
Um,
are three questions.
so to work with me, you can go to our website, wokemediabk.com. Christina at wokemediabk, she's our client relations gal. Shout out Christina. She handles all of our potential clients and new onboarding. So if you all want to work with us, of course, follow us as well, at Woke Media BK, YouTube, Instagram. That's all we have because I can't do all these different social media platforms, LinkedIn, all that good stuff. Right now, though, we have a few different projects we're working on. First is, like I was saying, my mentor. She's a client with us right now. She actually started out in PR, but then shifted over into like creative production and branding, direction, and everything. So
Hmm.
she's actually about to produce this year's BET experience out in LA. Yes, I'm very excited
I've
for
been there for
her.
14 years. I feel like I'm too old now.
So she is producing that. She also has a new Netflix Strong Black Lead show that's going to be coming out this summer. So they're in the early stages of getting all of that together.
Cool.
She also recently produced The Stars Magic City, an American fantasy documentary about Magic City in Atlanta. I know actually Darralynn is from Atlanta. So I should send her that too.
I used to do graphic design for them when I was in college. That's so funny.
Oh,
I used to do
really?
their
Yeah.
flyers.
Oh, cool. That's so funny. Yeah, she's doing some really great stuff.
I
And
love that.
yeah. And then we have two new projects that are starting. One of them is a community space in New York. They're really trying to just expand and get out there, and especially get the community to know more about them and their services. They support a lot of
Hmm.
nonprofits and stuff like that too. And then our other one is also just like such a precious moment to me. She was a client of ours in 2021, I think. And she has now dissolved that company, and she's now starting a healing retreat space for Black women entrepreneurs and social justice leaders. She's worked
Nice.
in the social justice space for like 20 something years, and now she's like, this is a lot and I need to take a break and focus on my healing. And she's been wanting to create this space for a while. So we are helping with the launch of this new healing center that's going to be popping up in North Carolina. So
That's
I'm super
amazing.
excited. Yeah. And
What a diverse group of clients, number one.
yes,
And it feels like it's fulfilling work as well. It's bringing you a lot of joy. So that
it is.
means everything, right?
It is, honestly.
You
And
look
again,
very
like,
calm and beautiful and serene, and your skin
it's
is, yeah.
Saturday. I was telling Geraldine, my friend, quickly did my hair for me, and so I had time to lay out in the sun before I got on here. So if that's why I look so like golden, it's because I was
I
like,
mean, this
uh,
perception of number one, entrepreneurs, but also PR publicists. The white, the girthy, they're all they look.